To another Liquid Bullet Productions. We're now into part 2 with Jason Cook, crime author and novelist. Thanks for coming again, Jason.
Good to see you again, yeah?
Come back, he turned up.
You're still out.
Thank you, Jason.
Gone through all the customs, nothing, no one said a dicky bird. He's free, the guy that had picked me up, he's 3 rows down, so like 2 people and then him.
Yeah.
And I'm walking along and I look around and I can see him and he's just like not even staring, he's just staring right at me, so he's not doing anything. So I get on the plane, I sit in the plane, I'm thinking, you know, they're going to, Heathrow, you know, in London, I'm going to get fucked, and they're going to know. So
what was it you had on? Sorry,
so
like
strap, it was a strap,
like
yeah,
a belt
like
under
a strap thing, yeah. So strapped up, and yeah, got to come off the plane. Go for you have to go through, wait for your baggage and all that. So as I come off, picked up the baggage, and he said, one of the guys come over and said, "Can you come through here?" So like stopped me, and I was like with the bag, and I was thinking, yeah, they know I've got it. They must know. Why have they stopped me? Pulled me into this room, undone all the bags and everything, searched through. Said, "Where have you been?" I told him where I'd been, why you've been out there. Said, "I've been out there to do like a holiday, why?" All that stuff. And he's looking at me, and I'm thinking, he knows I've got it, because he's asking me all the questions as if to say, I know. He said, "Right, come through here, can you walk through here?" Walk through here. Walk the dog walked through, nothing. Go through, come back out, gives me, does the wand on me as well, takes the belt off, so I've got the belt. So he said, when it goes off, he goes to me, "What's that?" And I thought, well, I'm going to have to just show him. So I've gone like that and he's gone, "Your belt." And as he's gone like that, "Your belt," I've gone, so now my arm's here like this, he's gone, "It's your belt." I've gone, "Oh, right." So I've taken off the belt, put the belt down, then he's gone, "Okay, grab your bag, walk through." So I've grabbed the bag, walked through. He said, "Okay, off you go." So I'm walking through, come back through now with everything else, and I'm walking through. As I'm walking through, get towards where you're going to come out, and another guard stands in front of me, and he said, as I've gone, I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he's gone, where are you going? I said, I'm going home. He's gone, you've left your belt. And I thought, I just looked at him like that. I just thought, he said, you've left your belt. So I thought they're gonna get me back in there and they're gonna go right with the gear. So I've gone and got the belt, give me the belt back, come back through, and then just watched. They had another dog walk through the whole it was normal anyway. I don't know if it was just for me, but they had another dog walk through, and I got outside, got down into the cab, and the guys that knew me they were driving in the black cab. One of them drove a black cab, and then took me back to the place I'd been. Fucking when I got in there, didn't even talk to me, nothing.
Must have been sweating by this sort of stage.
No talking or nothing. Pulls out the knife, lifts up the thing, just cuts it off me, goes into the room. I'm sitting on this old settee, just sitting there in the same place I'd been to where they're taking me with the guy, waiting, didn't know what was going on. And then must have been about an hour, they've come back out. He's gone, there you go, man. He goes, anything you need, just give us a shout. Give me an ounce of coke. And I was like, all right. I said, what about the money? He said, forget the money. He says, done. And that's it. And then he went back in the room, and I was just like, what do I do? Do I go? Do I stay? What do I do? So I got out, went down, and I remember sitting on the stairs on the flats. I fucking opened it up and started shoveling all the way over, shoveling. Fucking got in, I was just like, fucking lost and done a lot.
Yeah, I suppose you sit back at that point and take in everything that's happened, like, oh my God, I just got away with that.
Yeah.
Mr. Lucky,
Yeah.
So and I believe that goes on all the time.
Yeah, it probably does. Yeah.
But at the time, just more shovel, more you know what I mean, more buke. And that's what happened.
Yeah. Can I just ask you a quick question about obviously the sort of gangster sort of life, and are the criminal circles linked, or do they work individually as such?
Okay, so if you look at it, if we had to do it that way, so there are certain individuals that work alone, and they are on their own, they do their own things, and they may have contacts to other in firms. Some of them do connect and some of them don't. Some of them are on the fence, they'll work with each other, but it's strictly business. You cross over the business, then there's the conflict. You've got ones that work with their own. They won't work with no one else because that's how they keep safe. They work with their own, they know their own, and they stay safe with that. And then you've got those that will work with anyone. They're opportunists. They'll just go out and, right, if the money's there, I'll do it. You know, give me the job, I'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So was that sort of after this sort of stage that in your life, are you then trying to get out of crime, or did you carry on still down that same path?
I was trying to get out all the time I got in.
Really?
Yeah. Believe it or not.
It just kept picking up more debts and getting more involved.
Yeah, more debts. The more coke I was taking, the more addicted I was getting, the more stuff I'd be laying on, and the more stuff, and then you start, they call it robbing to pay Paul. Yeah. Rob to pay Paul and Peter, that sort of thing, which I call it juggling. So I was like, well, we'll get a bit off him, pay him when we can, shuffling around everyone. And before you know it, when that dries up, they all go, where's our money? And you're like, fucking hell, now I've got to pay all three of them. Yeah. So I called it juggling. I didn't realise it's not that I got involved, I was allowed to be involved in a sense. Yeah. I was brought into it. Yeah, it wasn't something I set out to do. I didn't want to be like anything like that. I'm not a gangster, I was never a gangster, I was just a boy that got entrapped in that world. Yeah. I was a gangster's runner, so to speak. Yeah. I did what they wanted me to do, so I ran for gangsters. You know, I did what they asked me to do, sometimes by choice and sometimes by not choice because of the addiction and because of the drugs that I was using.
Yeah. Can I just ask you, Jason, obviously you got a little bit of your ear gone there and stuff. Is that something involved in this crime sort of path?
This was an isolated incident. It was something that just happened out of the blue. I mean,
oh, really?
Yeah. I've been a good character for 10 years, obviously. Yep. Yeah, come out of all that, went to prison, done all the stuff, got away from it by chance, and obviously you read about that when you read about the books. But I got into an altercation, something happened, someone was really angry. I approached the person, they were really angry with what for some reason about other things, mainly probably about books or about anything. I'd known the person for years. I'd known the family for years, and it was an altercation that happened, and that was the result of the altercation.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah.
Actually, someone you knew then?
Yeah, someone I knew. Yeah. I'd like to say it was the
Yeah,
Colombian
no,
mafia or something like that. Yeah.
So Jason, can I just ask you, obviously,
Yeah.
sort of you've gone into sort of writing your own crime and novels. Is that about your own life, or?
Yeah, so I wrote about my experiences, and I wrote about the people that I experienced in there. Obviously, I've changed a lot of it because of, obviously, we don't want to corrupt anyone or bring to light anyone that necessarily needs to be brought to light. You know? I changed everything about the stories. What happened, but obviously you still have to protect those people and the innocent people as well that are involved.
What can I just ask you? What inspired you to think, "I know, I'm going to write a book"? Where did you get this sort of process from?
So it happened when because I got arrested and went to prison for, I think it was 4 years 1 month, and I served 3 years 9 months in Pentonville prison. And so I started at Woodhill and I went to Pentonville prison.
Yeah.
And I went into Woodhill prison, and one of the prison officers at the time wasn't like the others. He said, "Look, do you really want to get yourself together and get your life sorted out?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course you do." He's like, "Okay, well, we'll see." And then he came back and he said, "Like, you can go on to education, or you can go on to the drug-free wing. If you can do a test that's not positive, you can go onto the drug-free wing." And he said, "On there, there's people that want to get free of drugs. You know, they're all there to try and get their lives back together."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, that sounds good. That's what I want. You know, I wanted to get my life back together. You know, didn't want it because I knew where it was going to end. I was either dead or I'd be in prison for a long time, or someone else would get seriously hurt. And I didn't want that sort of life. And also by then I'd had my daughter, so things had changed dynamically for me and mentally. It was about my daughter, not about me in that sense. Because when you have no responsibilities, you take the risks.
Yeah, I suppose you don't care about yourself so much, but when you've got to think of others, it becomes a bit more.
It changed
life.
So in prison, it was given that opportunity. The first piss test I did, I think it was positive because I was using inside.
Yeah.
Second piss test was not positive, and he said, "Well, okay." He said, "You're clear. Go on to the drug-free wing." So I got onto the drug-free wing. This was where they do counselling. They did like group therapy. We did helping with sessions, like people would come in, like old people and people with disabilities, and you could help them and support them. They'd come into the prison wing, into the gym and do remedial works. And I was then, through certain circumstances, I was able to then go into do the prison orderly.
Yeah.
And inside prison there's a network anyway. You know, you help each other. So if you're on the servery, you'll help those that are in the gym. If you're in the gym, you'll help those that are on the laundry. And it works. It works. Yeah. And that's what helps you. And it's good. Forget about the organised other stuff that goes on. That's what helps you. So got there, managed to become prison orderly. Stayed in the gym, started training in the gym. And helping those, and the prison officer at the time was pushing us. He'd train with us, he'd say, get yourself together, and worked really well with us. And I came out thinking then, life is different.
It should give you a positive mindset now.
Yeah, and because if you think from the age of 12, well, probably about 11, all I'd known is drugs, other people, the things that I was involved with. And in them circles, because you're around them people, you think everyone is involved in that.
Yeah.
It's not until you come out of that circle and you go, well, not everyone is involved in that, and there is a life out there, People do work hard and get money, and they enjoy life. And I didn't see that until after that. Was given the chance to go on to education. They were like, "Oh, education." I was like, "Education?" And they said, "Oh, you get out your cell."
I suppose it's like being back at school.
Yeah. They said, "Oh, you get out your cell for longer periods." I was like, "Education, yeah, I'll do that." Went down there, education, and started working with one of the girls there. And she said, "Oh, we're going to write part of rehabilitation was to do. It's called a STEP program, I think it was, and you get to I think step 5, and you have to write about all the things that had happened to you and what happened."
Yeah.
So we started writing. And she realised then, she said, "Oh, you struggle with writing, didn't you?" I said, "Yeah." She said, what about reading? I said, well, I'm reasonably all right with reading. She said, but do you take stuff in? I said, I take enough in. She was like, oh, what about punctuation? I said, oh, it's lost with punctuation. She was like, oh, I think we need to do a test. I was like, oh, I don't want to do any tests. So I was thinking it was like whatever it was going to be. She said, no, it's all you have to do is just write stuff and we'll do a test with you and work it all out. And then they did the test and came back and she said, oh, I think you've got dyslexia. And I was like, and then that sort of moment clicked and I was thinking, that's why I struggled in school.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I was
Makes
who I
sense.
was. You know, that's who I am. And when you realise that, you can then take that on board and go, hang on a minute, that's why I've done what I've done. Or was it by choice? You know, everyone's got a choice.
Yeah.
Or was it just circumstances? So yeah, done that. Then she said, when we punctuated it and saw it, she said, oh, this could be a good book. She said, this is really good. She said, we'll try and make this into a book. I said, okay. And then obviously it developed and then came out, got the book, sent it to the publishers. Publishers liked it. We sent it to different publishers and they were like, well, who are you? And I was like, well, I'm nobody. They said, well, you need to be someone famous, you need to be this, you need to be that. And I was like, well, I'm just me. You know, there's the book, that's the story. And they were like, no. So then I got in touch with Pen Press and they said to me, yeah, we like the book, let's publish it. And I was like, okay. So they published it, got perceived really well in Bournemouth, in the local area. I was asked to do some talks and stuff to different groups. And then the book came out. It did quite well. Outsold Dan Brown in the local areas, which was a massive achievement.
What was the first book called, Jason?
There's no room for jugglers in my circus.
Yeah.
And obviously the juggling is what it's about,
Yeah,
and the circus
about.
is the people that you're involved with. And that is the circus, because there's all different characters coming out all the time in that sort of world. Some are loose cannons, some are just family men, some are just, you know, off the scale, some are hard killers, you know, ruthless individuals.
So can I just jump back into where we picked off? Obviously, you was talking about you had a prison sentence and stuff, and what sort of characters did you come up with, sort of involved with in prison?
So in prison there's a multitude of different characters. Some are faces. When I say faces, they're known people. You know, they hold their own, they do their own stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's people that are in there that have done murders for other people, or murderers. People that are in there for petty crimes, drug dealers, you know, organised criminals, gangland criminals, faces. When I was there in Woodhill, Charles Bronson was Charles. Was in
Charlie
there.
Bronson was there, yeah?
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, it's been a big name for years, hasn't
Yeah, so he was there. We didn't get to see him, but obviously there was a magazine that came out at the time called Time Out,
he? Yeah.
and obviously that went round, and there was bits of stories, because I think he was going to get married then or something,
Right.
or there was plans to get married or something like that. So when I came out of prison, I was sent him one of the books when they were done.
One of your own books.
Yeah. And I'd heard nothing back, and all of a sudden he sent me a made card, and he had drawn birds on there and a glove and all stuff like that, and pictures on him and stuff. I should have brought it with me actually, but he put it in there and he said, oh, I love the book. He said, but stay away from drug dealers, I hate them. So I got that from there. And while I was in there with, it was really weird because I was in there with another person. There's other people in there with a lot of mental health issues.
Right.
People that are on drugs and stuff like that. And there's people in there that the people know, the prison system know, and the people in there know because they come out and they come back in.
Yeah.
They're career criminals, some of them, and they're always in and out. And they get institutionalised by that, you know. They know they're going to come in, they go out, they come in and out. So people know them in there, yeah, and faces. And then there's like what they call in the films the Mr. B or Mr. Big of the prison system that can manipulate certain things that go on in there. When I first went in there, I was put in there with someone that was a heroin addict, and obviously drugs come under the cell, and they just come under, and you think, so what's going on? And I just kicked it straight back out again, and then it comes straight back in again. So it's a bit like fucking, I don't know, it's way back in again. I was just to say it's yours, and then I realised it was for the other fella. I said, "Is this? Look, this has come through." He's like, "Yeah, it's mine, it's mine." And
Gotcha.
So then he left, but then I was asked to do cleaning, so the mopping, you mop the landings and all that, and come out and clean. As a cleaner, you're opened up to different things, so you're out longer periods and stuff. So yeah, things can happen in there without giving too much away, because obviously you can't give too much away, but you're able to talk to other people and the connections. So something happened, and I sort of looked after something for someone. And next thing, I was brought up to their cell straight away. I'd wanted a single cell, and I met him on the land, and he said, "Don't worry, 2 days' time he'll be in my cell." And I thought nothing of it at first. Familiar face, well-known individual to everyone, and I was like, "All right, okay." Just thought nothing of it, because you do get a load of people talk stuff as well,
talk rubbish,
and bluff you, and just people do stuff. And all of a sudden 2 days come, we call them the screws, but the screw came, opened the door, goes, "You upstairs?" I said, "No, I'm not, I'm here." He said, "No, you're upstairs now, get your kit, you're going upstairs." I was like, "No, I'm all right here." He said, "Get your fucking kit and get upstairs." I was like, "Right, okay." Went upstairs, got up there, banged me up. Then they have visits, so you have a visit. And while I'm in there, I'm looking at these things on the wall. I'm looking at these pictures, and I'm thinking, who's that? Who's this geezer? Next thing, the geezers come in, and I'm thinking, he goes to me, "What are you in here for?" And I said, "I'm in here for drugs." He goes, "Whereabouts? Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Bournemouth, Hertfordshire." He's gone, "I know that place very, very well." I said, he said, "So what happened then?" So I got in debt and fucking started dealing, and you know, that's why I'm here. I got called for drugs. He said, "How much money do you owe?" I said, "Probably about £3,000, £4,000. He said, "Oh, right." He said, "Okay." He said, what Pacific part are you from?" I said, "Well, Bournemouth." He said, "Oh," he said, I know a lot of people in Bournemouth." He said, and then it sort of stopped there. No more conversations about it. Then we went out on a visit, and he had these people would come in, and you just get that presence of these people that have turned up. You know that this person is someone of stature and value, and is known. And then I come out and I looked at the card on the thing, because at the time they had cards, and you have your prison number on the card of the cell.
Yeah.
I looked up and I thought, fucking hell, I know this person. I've heard of his name in the circles that we worked around. I'm thinking, fucking hell, now I'm banged up with him. And I was on eggshells all the time, thinking, fucking hell.
Yeah.
And then he said, "Do you know who I am?" And I said, "Well, not really." He tried to play not really. He said, "Any debt you owe is going to get wiped away. You won't owe anything. There's no more debts for you. I will take care of that." I was like, "Oh, right." He said, "But if I take care of it, you have to take care of what we asked you to take care of." And I was like,
It's putting you back in that awkward position
yeah.
of
So I was like, okay.
owing another debt.
Yeah. So now, just out of doing something to protect someone else, you're now involved in this. And I was like, okay. So anyway, spent the time in with him. Everything I wanted came. Whatever I needed came. Wanted to get shipped out came. Just like that, and I was thinking, this is what made me think there's a bigger world under the underworld that is run by the underworld that can pull strings no matter what circles you are. Whether you're that high, whether you're in the police force, whether you're here, there's other things that can be pulled, and that becomes a very dangerous world, because that means who can you turn to? You can't turn to them because they know them, and if you do, then it's worse. So there's more levels to it.
So can I just ask you, you said about the underworld.
Yeah.
What exactly is the underworld?
So the underworld, so the underworld is people that are connected in certain circles. They may be different firms, and they run certain parts of different things that go on. Yeah. So let's go back to like the old days. We had the Crays, didn't you? So Crays knew what was going on. They policed the streets in their own way. They did what they needed to do. They were classed as underworld figures.
Yeah.
As that moves on, other people came into the limelight, and they then took control of certain things, and they decided that they would take control of the streets and say, "This is our stuff. You work for us. You do this. We tell you what to do. You owe us money. You pay the money." Connections, that sort of thing. That is what I believe to be the gangster, a real gangster that can do what he says he can do, when he can do it, doesn't have to bluff about it, and these things happen and the operation will go ahead. And sometimes the gangster doesn't have to do anything. He's known as the gangster, and all the minions will do the work, and he gets the praise for it. But he gets away from the limelight as well. People will do time for him, or her. Sometimes it's not always him, it's her as well. And they will do time for that person. They'll take the rap for something, and they won't say anything, and they won't put anyone in the limelight, and they'll do it, and they get looked after when they come out, which is a dangerous world.
Yeah. Do you find they also have sort of links to sort of, like you say, like prison screws, police, corrupt police as such, and
Yeah.
statuses like that.
There is a bigger world. We see it from that side, but there is a bigger world. Some people do have them connections. Top people, when I say top people in the criminal industry, organised criminals, do have that at their disposal. Not always that. Sometimes it might even go into Crown prosecutioners. It might go into further depths, depending on how high the money is, or how high that them individuals are.
Yeah.
Without giving names away, and that happens, and that becomes if you can do that, you become a very powerful position, which makes you a powerful gangster because you can manipulate certain things. You know that if something happens, you can just wash it away. There you go. There's a few quid. We'll give this person up, or we'll go that the person can have that, and we'll work around that.
Yeah. So it opens up a whole bit more picture,
Yeah.
really, doesn't it? Who could be involved in that?
That's it. Yeah.
What sort of people and what sort of what do you call it? Job roles, job titles are
Yeah.
involved, all
Yeah.
different types of stuff.
It's changed a lot now. There's more international things, and it's more of an overworld than an underworld. International teams have now come together and taken over certain aspects of what was led to believe. Some people have been taken down by the police. Big networks has happened, but these new figures have come in now and taken control of it, and now are running the streets, and they operate in different ways. Not only through criminal activities, but through activities like cyber crimes, through all the other things that they're using, all the internets and things like that. They're able to manipulate things like that.
Yeah, got you. So that's quite a big thing now, isn't it? With these cyber crime and sort of scams and stuff.
Scams and stuff.
So is that, like you say, run by these sort of underworld criminal type
Yeah, some
people?
of them. Yeah, some of them are they're organised in what they do. They're organising where the shipments come from. They organise that. They use that to obviously do what they need to do. Without giving too much away, you can't tell you the ins and outs because it puts them in jeopardy, and it puts myself in jeopardy and everyone else. So you have to keep it to a thing. People know it happens, we know it happens, and it's organised in that sense. They have the control of certain aspects of whether it be drugs, whether it be money, whether it be how they launder that money. That's how they work and operate.
It's quite an interesting sort of outlook and stuff of like a lot of people don't realise how much it goes into that sort of world, does it?
No.
It's like a whole other world, really, isn't it?
So more of an overworld now. More people are involved. There's more. A few years ago, when I was involved in that sort of industry, there was a war on drugs. But it seems like the war on drugs hasn't won because there's drugs everywhere. So the organisations of them people have become bigger and stronger because they're able to operate in the ways that they operate.
Yeah. Can I just throw a question to you? So, was there a dream you had? If you hadn't gone down this path of your life with crime, was there a dream as a kid, like, some kids say, I wanted to be a fireman, or is there something you had as a dream but got distracted from?
Yeah, so I always thought I'd like to be a national, and I always thought I'd come out of the forces and be special forces, and look after profile people, so take care of them and stuff like that. That's what I thought I'd wanted to do. And I would have liked to have done that,
Yeah.
But obviously, I chose the wrong path, or the path that chose me, and I went down them. I had choices. I took them choices.
Yeah. So now, really, you've sort of reformed character. You've gone into books, filming industry. Can we get a little bit of your life now, sort of how it sort of turned corner?
Yeah. So I work a normal job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
everyone
normal,
thinks.
Jason?
So I do a 9 to 5 job. Yeah. Things that I hated back then, I do a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
Normal. In my spare time, I write books about my experiences and about things that happened to me. Also, I write children's books. I work out on films, so I develop films, stories in-house, and I develop them all the way up to able to pitch them and work on film sets and do stuff like that.
It's quite a totally different lifestyle, but it's quite an interesting life again. Now you're going into producing your own stuff.
Yeah.
And so how did you first sort of become sort of able to do that?
Okay, it's very hard. It's very hard to step away from it because the opportunity is always there. When you know that fast money is there and it's easy opportunity, it's like, why am I getting up? Why am I doing this? And now I look at it, I get up and do it because I don't put my life in danger.
Yeah.
I'm not putting anyone else's life in danger, and I can get up and go to bed not worrying that someone's going to come through the door, not worrying that the police are going to come through the door. So in my own mental health and my own health through that, I feel safe, to
Yeah.
do that. It was difficult. You always get the callbacks here and there. Oh, this is happening. Fancy doing this, fancy doing that. And I push it away now because.
Yeah. Do you have to sort of change your circle of friends around you and stuff to get away from that life?
Yeah, I stay away from everyone. Yeah, I try and stay away from everyone now because it's there if you want it. That's
Yeah.
the thing. And a lot of people, like myself, a lot of people are blinded by the lights. That's what they say. It's blinded by
Yeah.
the lights. They see that, they want it, they want a piece of it, and they get involved.
So can we just ask you now about, can you talk us through your books you've done,
Yeah.
what they're about, and obviously your films you've done and what they're about?
Okay, so the books are, there's 5 books altogether.
Yeah.
For 4 that are known that are already out are called There's No Room for Jugglers in My Circus.
Yeah.
The second one is called The Gangster's Runner. Third one is A Nice Little Earner. And the last one is Cocaine, The Devil's Dandruff.
Yeah.
We're now commissioned to write the Cookster, and I'm nearly finishing that off. So there'll be 5 in the series, and all it does is takes you from the first book straight back to the beginning of where it all happened,
Right.
and it brings you right up to the first book, which is There's No Room for Jugglers, and then it takes you through the whole story of how I got involved more in depth. We've touched some of it, but it shows you the whole story, the people that I was surrounded by, what they got, how they got involved, how their story evolves around them as well,
Yeah.
and what causes them to be a part of what we call the underworld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how does the books sort of led into the films from there, from the books? Or?
Yeah, so what happened is I sent a book out to a few script writers.
Yeah.
One of the script writers said, I like the book, I'll do the script for you. So she'd done the script for us, which was Joanne Hess. She liked it, writ the script. I sort of liked the way she worked. She didn't just go off and write something and come back and go, what do you reckon? And she worked with me. I'd tell her the stories, tell her what happened, and she'd start writing, and then look at the books as reference and reference it from there. And I liked the way that she did that process, and we worked well. So I stayed with Joanne, and Joanne then started writing the 4 screenplays, and she wrote the screenplay to the Cookster, which will come out from the book. So the screenplay's already written. It's just the book now coming towards that.
Yeah.
And we're going to start shooting that. Developments have started with a producer who's also keen to shoot the Cookster.
So are any of the films actually already out there?
So not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. So what happened is I was keen to get the first one done, and
Yeah.
they were like, no, let's wait, let's wait. And then when we had the 4, then someone said, you've got the 4 stories, it's
Yeah.
all good, but people also want to know how.
Yeah.
You're there, you're doing it, that's good, but we want to know how and why. What happened, what made you turn that corner, what makes people go out and do what they do,
Yeah.
and be a bit different from the gangster stories, that are out there. It's a bit different.
So we've still got to look forward to the films coming out
Yeah.
and another book.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a little bit,
Sure.
obviously, while we're talking about films,
Yeah.
you've done a bit of acting and stuff yourself.
Yes,
Is that correct?
Yeah, so I was in Bonded by Blood.
Yeah.
I was an extra. Yeah,
I know
Bonded by
someone
Blood.
else said
yeah,
that.
yeah. So I was in there. I played a completely different role from what I was used to playing,
Yeah.
which was a prison officer.
Oh, you was a prisoner?
Yeah, I was one of the prison officers
Wow.
in the canteen scene. I think it was Adam Deacon and some other people that was there. And Tamar Hussain was in the walkabout bit, the yard. They called it the yard, didn't they?
Yeah.
So he was in there, which was good. And that was really good. I really liked that. I watched how people did it, and really felt that this was a new calling. I thought, oh, this is cool. I'd like to get involved. Then I worked on a film called 10 Dead Men with Ross, I think was the director then. I was just an extra. They put an advert out, said extras come in, and I started helping the thing. Watched how he did it, and obviously he made it good, and we did that. And then I thought to myself, okay, I'd like to try and produce my own stuff. I met another guy who was a producer who'd done some books as well, and he sort of coached me in a sense and said, this is how the steps are to do it, because I didn't have a clue at that stage.
Yeah.
And he showed me how to do it. And while we were shooting that, we shot a trailer, a semi-trailer for Sony Productions. It was in a magazine, and we came third, I think it was out of that. Didn't quite make the grade for the film, for them to fly us to Hollywood and give us all the special, but we came third, first time third, that was good. Yeah. Then I met another producer and director, which was called D. Johnny Chan, and he owned Silent D Pictures, and he came down and shot a teaser trailer, and he said, well, I'd like to work with you. So we worked on another film, shot that. I was an extra in that, called London Love Story. Completely different. It was an Indonesian film. I play a baddie in there, and yeah, just carried on from there. Then I started working out how to line produce, how to put the pictures together, how to try and network and bring people together. And yeah, it's moved on from there. And
Yes.
now we've got the scripts, and now we're ready with the books.
Moving forward in a
Yeah.
different direction.
Yeah.
What can you see for your future holds for you, Jason?
So I'd like to, for my future, so I'd like to have the films out.
Yep.
I'd like to move into animation because I've written the children's book and do animation. And I'd also like to try and see if I can give opportunities to other people to bring them in and give them a chance, you know.
Yeah. So give a little bit back.
Yeah, maybe give them a
Just
chance.
a quick one. You said about children's books. I'll just get a little bit more of that on.
Yeah, so yeah.
Obviously, obviously that's a totally different avenue again.
So what happened with that? My son, I was with my son. He was going through some difficulties, and we went to King's Cross, and we saw a mouse and a rat run up the tracks.
Yeah.
And I said to him, "What do you think they're doing?" And he said, "Oh, obviously his girlfriend and this and that." And we started talking about him coming up with funny things. He's off to work and he's doing that, and just generally like pretending what could happen.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this would be quite good as a book. You know, it's quite funny, it's comical. We'll write a book. So I started penning the book together. I was just doing a bit of research on rats, and it came up that there was a real rat that tried to get to space, and his name was Hector. And I thought, oh, this is amazing. Okay, so let's write the story of encompassing that and bring that story in where he becomes the astronaut.
Right.
And the backstory of why he becomes the astronaut and how my childhood was and the other childhood is how things change.
Yeah.
So as you're influenced, and then obviously how he becomes the astronaut and gets into space.
Wow.
And it's called Rats in Space. And we've just done the storyboards for the animation. And now I'm going to look for the voiceovers and see if we can get funding to make that happen.
Yeah.
And hopefully see if Disney will pick it up. That would be the best. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Yeah.
It's just brilliant how you've turned your life around so much.
Thank you.
It's great to see.
Thank you.
Is there anywhere people can sort of get in touch with you or look at your stuff, and have you got websites? And
Yeah, so my website is Weebly, all for Jason Cook. They can go on there and look at all my work, my upcoming works and the books and people that I've met in certain circles. Obviously not the people that were the stories out here. They can contact me directly with my email, which is jasoncook@ntlworld.com, and someone will pick that up and pass it on to me, or I'll deal with that. If you want the books, let me know, and obviously I can sign them if you want them signed. And I do lots of giveaways to charity as well and stuff. So if you've got something to support, I'll give you a couple of books to support your charity.
Well, I want one signed because I remember when they were cold.
Yeah. So if you're doing a charity, I'll send them off and do that for them.
Lovely.
And if you,
before we wind up, Jason, have you got any funny stories to tell us that you've come across in your life?
Funny stories.
The belt one was good. I loved that.
Yeah,
It weren't funny though, was it?
Yeah, it was. I thought it probably was an clip.
Okay, so this is the story. This is the funny story, and it's in the book. You'll read about it, but I'll tell you, I won't spoil anything. So I get told to go down to meet a shipment of cocaine that's coming across. You know, I was first of all, I'll get invited to Spearmint Minos. Go there, we'll meet with a fellow. We'll call him Mr. B. And Mr. B's in the book. He's sitting there with a Colombian guy. We don't know who the Colombian guy is, and we're talking about certain things that are going on. And he goes, "How much do you think you can shift?" And I'll go, "I'm thinking I could shift like 9 ounces, 10 ounces." So I'll go about 9. He goes, "Oh, 9, yeah, that's really good." He said, "Yeah." He said, 9 kilos. I was like, 9 kilos? I was like, "What are you on about, 9 kilos?" He's gone, 9 kilos. Can you shift 9 kilos? I was like, "No." He said, "Well, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about kilos." And I was like, "Oh, right, okay." So it perspires, and it goes into more depth because we haven't got more time to tell it. But they send me to go and get the money to pick up this gear. So it's all organised. It's coming across from Colombia. It's on a boat. It's coming across. When it reaches international waters, it belongs to the responsibility of who's ordered it and whether they want it. That's how it sort of works without giving too much away, in a sense. Yeah. I'm told to go and pick up the money. So we go to this place where they've got the 2 Russian fellas have got money, and I'll go there, and the amount of money we're supposed to pick up. So I'll go into the gym, because what they had is a false floor in the gym, and they'd lift up all the mats. The floor was there, all Kruger hands, gold, all passports and stuff. And he gives me a paper about this big, like, probably about that big, with all flower writing on it, with the amount on it. And I goes to him, what the fuck's that? He goes, "That's the money." I goes, "No, I need the money. You got the shipment's coming. I need the money. The people have sent me here to get the money." He said, "That is the money." He said, "I thought you was professionals." I said, "I am." He said, "Well, that's a fucking bank bond." So I've got this bit of paper. I'm fucking thinking, look, I'm going to pick the money up.
Yeah.
But it's a fucking bank one, and you just go and cash it out. So yeah. So that was.
So you was expecting to have a briefcase full of cash?
So I'm thinking walking in there with big duffel coats like we used to, like big fucking duffel bags full of money, and fucking he gives us a bit of paper, and we got a shipment of fucking the money coming over, like the gear coming over on the boat, and there's me fucking with a piece of paper thinking, fucking hell, I've got to go there, see the main fellas, and go, give me a bit of paper. So that's quite funny, but still serious in a sense. But yeah.
Cool.
I mean, it wasn't all bad. There was a lot of bad. There was some good times, but if I could change it, then I would go back and say, do you know what? I wish I hadn't got involved in the drugs to begin with.
Before we finish up, is there any advice you can give sort of young ones that are sort of getting involved in crime and going down that wrong path? Any sort of words of advice you'd give them?
Yeah, I mean, just read the books, listen to the story. At the end of the day, it's your choice. You know, you're gonna hear it. You know, it's down to you to make the decision. I just hope that you look at this and hear it from someone that's actually been there. Yeah. And it doesn't end there. You know, you think the money's coming in, it goes on to addiction, and not only that, it's not you you're hurting. It's going to be the people around you, family, friends. You know. So I'd just say, you know, if you've got a chance, if you're in it, try and walk away. If you've got a chance to walk away, and if you're not in it, stay away from it.
Lovely. Right, we'll wind it up there, Jason. Thanks ever so much for coming. Really appreciate it.
Good luck, Jason, with the books and the film, mate.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.